Welcome back to episode 11 of the Becoming More podcast. I am joined today by Mike Sternfels. Mike and I have known each other since last summer when he was on the Fat Guy Forum with Gormy, who was the first guest on this show. And we have some things in common and some things not, but it'd be great to have him on. So, Mike, thanks for coming on today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
Pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, I know you're starting nursing school next week. So, how excited are you for that? Are you like just scared shitless?
Well, it actually doesn't fully start next week. I had a little mishap where the school misunderstood my transcript, which I don't know if can I curse on it.
Yeah, you can. I said scared shitless. So this episode is releasing August 5th.
So at the end, yeah, I'll be starting nursing school at that point. So hopefully anatomy will be just fantastic. But to give context to that, just no, they said it was fine as long as I had anatomy 1 done for going to school. But they changed something at some point that they want anatomy 1 and 2 done together somewhere else because the way their anatomy 1 with their anatomy 1 may not line up. So they want you to have it done at the same place. So in order for me to start in August, then I had to take anatomy 2 at the same place I did anatomy 1. So I'm doing like an accelerated course from June 1st to like August 10th. And then nursing school start like the 18th or 19th.
Well, at least that's in your field, right? So you should be okay. Hopefully.
Yes.
I took A&P when I was in college for bachelor's, and
Yeah,
that was pretty brutal. But it was not my. I do stuff in tech. I have a tech role, so it's way different.
Yeah. See, the thing is, it's not like I'm not nervous about it because it's something I'll enjoy. But what I don't like is that it's accelerated. Because the last time I took an accelerated summer course like this, it's just sped up and there's a lot of tests like very quickly together.
Yeah. I took an accelerated statistics class when I was in Penn State, and it was like 6 weeks or 5 weeks or something.
Yeah.
And it just was like bang, like the whole time was just like bang, bang, bang. Because we'd have like, I think we had 2 nights and we had like 3.5 hours each night of it.
Yeah, so that's what gets me. My class, it pretty much goes Monday, Wednesday. This is including lab. It's 10 to 5 p.m. Monday, Wednesdays.
Wow.
Not all of it's in person because of COVID. I don't know how they're working it. They said they'd release it as the class starts. That like it's high flex. Like you might meet only on Wednesdays in person, or maybe you meet just the entire week in person, and the next week you don't. I'm a little confused because they haven't gotten back to me, and I'd kind of like to know now what I'm supposed to do. It's not that far. It's only like a 30-minute drive to the campus. But yeah, so hopefully that'll be fine. But yeah, the nursing school starts in the next week or two after you hear this.
Yeah, awesome.
I have everything ready for that. I bought my uniform for it. A lot of stuff I needed to have prior. I don't know. I'm more excited about that than the anatomy class, and I'm not even at that point yet.
Yeah. So, awesome. So, what I like to ask everybody on the show is I like to ask the bottom line of like your weight loss journey so far. So, if you had to give like a couple sentence like description of where you're at, what would that be?
To me, I'm somewhere between maintaining and trying to lose a little bit more. I feel like so far it's been highly successful. I've lost roughly between 360 to 380 pounds.
Yeah, that's not a small number. So I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know you were right about 600, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would guess probably about 600, maybe slightly above, maybe slightly less. It just got to a point where scales at the doctor's office didn't work, and like they were just guessing and with stuff. And,
yeah, it wasn't like for me. It wasn't until I was at the hospital and they had me on a scale that could go up that high, and I was like, "Huh." I remember that first it was in kilograms, and I had no idea what. I guess it was like 220 kilograms was, or something, some number, and I was like, I don't know what that is, and then they translated it for me, and I was like, oh, okay, and that was like my highest number that's still on my Instagram bio. But so so you got up to 600. Um, so obviously it started somewhere. So like, when was like the first time that you remember that you were like fat? Because like, so I like to give this
You were like,
example. Ever, like, what was the first time you remember like being like,
like the first time I was like, oh shit, I might be fat,
yeah,
kind of
even
thing.
if it was like a little kid or
I
like,
was a kid, yeah. I was in like, to me, like it always sticks out. Like there was another kid he's lost a lot of weight too.
mhm.
I'm not in contact with him. I just know that he has. It was another kid that was also very, very overweight because of school. We were both in like third or fourth grade, maybe. And I was like really like not very open about talking about it because it made me
Mhm.
uncomfortable even at like an age like that. But
Mhm.
like he was super open about it, and it was like he wanted to compete almost like to who was heavier, and like he said how much it was, and then I said how much I was, and like he was super loud about it, like saying the number, and it was just like, there's other people around you can hear. But it was at that moment that I realized I was like, oh, you know what? I am a lot bigger than a lot of these other kids in this class.
Yeah.
And from there, I was like, as you get older, like kids would bully me in like, grade school, middle school, high school.
So was there a point that as you're growing up that like family like try to intervene and get you to like, diet or like try it? Because I mean we're roughly the same age. So like, did you have any do any like fad diets like of like the 90s that were or like Slim Fast or take your pick or go on Weight Watchers or anything like that when you were getting
No,
heavier? No.
like, see, the thing is, like, I definitely had conversations. It was more on my part, I think, with like mostly my dad. Like, hey, I really want to lose weight. What should I do? And then like nothing would happen.
Okay.
I think at some point I tried looking into Slim Fast, but I didn't understand. Like, I kind of understood it, but like I was a kid, I didn't have a job, so it wasn't like I was buying them, and I don't think I could convince my dad to buy it for me.
They also tasted
I,
awful.
and I'm not also suggesting that that would have been a smart choice either, because I was a kid. But in my
Yeah.
head, it seemed like reasonable.
Yeah,
I
I tried them
know,
before and they always tasted horrible.
I know. So they were horrible.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
horrible.
Okay.
I mean, like, you ever drink Yoo-Hoo?
Yes.
Like, Yoo-Hoo's not very good either, like compared to like regular chocolate milk. But like the Slim
Yeah.
Fast chocolate was like 10 times worse than the Yoo-Hoo.
That's what I figure most
Yeah,
marketed diet stuff is, but
yeah.
not that I've done a lot of it. But Weight Watchers was another one. I didn't actually do it, but I knew someone that did,
Hmm.
and like I had checked it out because I think it was like high school, and it was exactly to me like the stereotype of what I thought Weight Watchers was gonna be. It was a bunch of people way older than me. I want to say like old ladies,
Hmm.
and a lot of them probably didn't even like. Not to sound like an asshole, but like probably didn't want. To me, they weren't heavy enough where they should probably be like doing Weight Watchers. It was like they want to lose like 5 pounds.
Yeah, yeah. And but
It
I mean
doesn't
that's
like I know it sounds like a jerk thing to say. Like I get it. Like
well,
regardless of what weight you are, you might want to feel like you need to lose more.
yeah.
But it wasn't to my extreme of being like in high school. I don't remember. I was like
Al-
three
al-
fifty or
Also,
400.
so much of it is like Weight Watchers is a business, so they want to get those people that are going to be constant customers, right? That have to lose like
Yeah.
10, 20 pounds and then they're back. Like they'll take a few months off, then they'll come back because I want to get back to that beach body or whatever that the reason is
Yeah.
that they're
So
losing.
I get it. Obviously, you can't have all your customers be a certain thing, but like to me, it's like I just didn't feel like some girl probably like 40 years older than me is going to really relate to the things I'm talking about, because I thought it was more like a support group, if anything,
Yeah.
not so much about the diet. Like I know it's changed, and I've heard a lot more based on what people have said recently about it. So like what I thought it was and what it actually is a lot different. But I never actually did it. So
Yeah, I did some similar thing to them, but not the actual WW. So as you're growing, you mentioned that as you're growing up, like you had like you got bullied about your weight and all that, and you had the guy that was like the same but wanted to compete.
yeah,
Um, did you have anything like so as you get to like to end of high school, like about how heavy were you then?
I don't know for sure how much I was like freshman year or a sophomore or anything like that. But the one thing that sticks out in my head is when I was a junior, I really wanted to play football because a lot of the kids who to me were like the popular kids who I was kind of becoming friends with at that point
Hmm.
somehow tried to get me to go, and I went to the weight room to work out with the football players like a few times, and I couldn't get my parents' signature, so they wouldn't let me play. But I do remember going on the scale, and it was like I was just like surprised. Like I knew I was heavy, I just didn't know I was that heavy. It was like 380 or 390,
Okay.
and I was like a junior in high school.
All
And
right.
like
So when you graduated, roughly 400,
probably, yeah,
but then you got up to 600 ish,
yeah.
right? So what was it that got you from like the 400 end of high school to like 600? What was it, like 5 years ago or so ish? I think, if I remember right.
Probably a little more than that
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So what was it that got you, like? Because I mean, we all have like those different things, like whether it's like, you're in like college and you gain it, like
Oh,
you get the
yeah.
freshman
So,
50, or like you're
well,
at your first job and like you have like all this money that you get, and then free time, and then you're like, I'll just have all the Cheetos that I can buy.
it is. I mean, a mix of things. Like high school, to me, like it started ramping up a lot faster because our school let you leave during lunchtime
Hmm.
to get your own lunch. So like I was in control of what I was eating at least for lunch. And I mean, obviously I was probably in control of what I ate at home too, but not to
Hmm.
this extreme because
Yeah.
the places that are in walking distance to my high school was like um, Wendy's, KFC, a restaurant, White Castle was in driving distance, which I could drive at that point. McDonald's, a pizza place, a Chinese food buffet, 7-Eleven, Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Um,
So plenty of options.
yeah, and trust me, like I don't even know how much money I got from my parents every day for lunch, but going to like McDonald's and ordering on like the dollar menu, I ate so much terrible options. It was like, oh, I'm
Hmm.
gonna eat like 3 or 4 double cheeseburgers for $1. Like, why not? And White
Yeah.
Castle there.
Yeah. And then there's
Um,
always the option to like you go to multiple drive-through windows to get a variety, right?
yeah, I don't think I did that, but I definitely went to like the Chinese food buffet or like went to McDonald's and I was like, I'm spending all my money for all this food that I really shouldn't be eating. And like I definitely never had healthy food at any of these places. Like I don't think I ever ate at Dunkin' Donuts unless I was going like on like a lunch date-ish kind of thing with like a girls that I was friends with in high
Mm.
school.
Okay.
That's where they want to go. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
But as far as college, oh sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, as far as college though, it definitely like that was more of I'd say for me, um, a lot of lifestyle changes at that point too. Is where my weight started ramping up. At that point was just like um, I was just going to classes pretty much, and
Hmm.
then going home and like playing video games a lot. And I was also eating a lot more on top of it because I could. I had more free time, and there's no one else around. And it's like, oh, I can just go buy this and then go out there and drive. And so it was like
Yeah.
high school, except way worse. But
Yeah. Because all your meals you had the freedom, right?
yeah,
Instead of just the lunch
yeah. And the
one.
truth is, even with high school, I probably had more. I was eating way more snacks probably outside of like dinner, and I don't think
Hmm.
I ever really ate breakfast. But um, college was definitely like, oh, I'm gonna go to all these other things, and like then there's alcohol involved with like friends, and
Yeah.
like my friends are also eating terrible too to make it even worse. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, so this is just like a landslide from there.
It's kind of like an accumulation of factors getting as you get move up and up in the weight, and then like because like you said, like video games. I mean, I know, I played video games too back then. I don't really play them as much anymore because I don't know, my attention span just isn't there as much. Like I'm just
Yeah,
like
priorities in life
I'll
have
play
changed.
Madden. Like I'll play Madden because it's mindless. And I have friend like I'm in I have a few like a group of friends that we play every year. We all like get it and then like play a league, and like we play like 5 seasons before we get bored with it, and then we're
Yeah,
done.
I
And that's just fun
kind of
because
like
it's
that now.
yeah. But a lot of other stuff I don't wind up playing. So you're in college, you get up to a certain weight, like in your adult life, and then what was like so obviously at some point you decide to go on this journey of losing 365 plus, let's say. Was there like a certain event that happened, or like was it like just an accumulation of things that happened that caused you to want to change?
All right, so there's one thing that I left out that I was gonna add in. It's kind of mixed together about that change. At some point, I was tired of what was going on. And I did try to lose weight. I started walking every day,
Hmm.
and I noticed it was getting hard for me. Like, I think I actually lost weight, but I'll never know for sure. This is just the gas in my head. I was trying to eat better, and I went walking multiple times a day, and I wasn't at 600 yet.
Okay.
I noticed when I'd go on a lot of these walks, my eyes would hurt from the sun, and I didn't think much of it. I don't know. I should have taken it more seriously. That this isn't normal kind of thing. But when I was still in school. I want to say it's probably like 2010, maybe. I'm just throwing a year. That sounds right in my head. I don't know for sure, but
Okay.
I woke up one morning and I couldn't see out of both my eyes, and it wasn't like black. It was like dark gray.
Oh wow.
And eventually, it was like 5 to 10 minutes later, my vision returned to normal. But it was like a slow progression of like dark gray to light gray to like kind of see things to white to normal
Hmm.
ish blurry. And it happened a few times, and then I was getting these. And then after the day would go on, I'd go outside, and all of a sudden the light would just kill me, and both my eyes would just shut, and it would go away, and then it wouldn't happen the next day. So like after a while, I was like, oh, this isn't normal. I went to my doctor. She didn't know what it was, but she said, it's an eye issue. You really should go to your eye doctor instead, because she noticed a white spot on my right eye,
Hmm.
and like I didn't even notice it when I looked in a mirror. I went to my eye doctor, and they told me to do a lot of different things for like over like 2 to 3 weeks. Like I don't remember what it's called. I guess it's not important, but they gave me like a substance to put in my like a medication that was like the same consistency as like Vaseline, and I
Wow.
had to rub it in my eyelids. And then after doing that, and the whole time the guy says to me, "We don't know what it is, what's going on. We're gonna send you to a specialist." I go to the specialist. He knew
Wait, wait,
immediately.
wait. So wouldn't they like? You think that they would do that before they have you rub this Vaseline
Yeah,
consistent
exactly. That was
medication
the
on
whole
you,
thing
right?
that got me so mad. I was like, wait, so why have I been taking this medication for like almost a month? For
Hmm.
like, you didn't even know what was wrong with me, but I'm taking medication. Like,
Yeah,
I was like really irritated, and I'm still to this day like, the guy could have sent me the first day to a specialist, and I
yeah.
mean, I don't think it would have made a huge difference in the long term, but in my head, you
But
wasted time.
yeah, yeah.
But
Jeez. Okay.
yeah, he knew immediately what it was. He's like, "Oh, it's definitely a cornea issue." And he looked at it and he's like,
Hmm.
"Well, first off, you have a rupture in your cornea. Like, you need to have a transplant. Like, it's too far gone.
Hmm.
Like, you're gonna need a transplant for it." And then he told me at that point that I have like a genetic condition that no one ever knew about. That the shape of my cornea is just like more like a football instead of a globe.
Okay. Wow.
So it caused a rupture, and then I had to do a bunch of preventive surgery for my left eye, which was just like peeling off the front layer down to the cornea and lifting it up, and then putting like vitamin B,
Hmm.
I think, on it, and then sitting under like a UV lamp for like 30 minutes, and then waiting for it to heal, which takes like 3 months.
Wow.
But the right eye, no, I needed to have a full transplant, and then it was like a really, really long recovery.
So,
I had to
so
take a lot of medication for it, and I couldn't be out in light. I couldn't drive, so I was literally just like stuck in my room,
and
listening.
how long was that?
How long?
Yeah, how long was the recovery for the second one that you say? Because you said it was a really long recovery.
Um, it depends on like which aspects of it, like the Vicodin and stuff. I was on way longer than like a recommendation for like a Vicodin. Like, I want to say it was almost like 6 months for that
Wow.
alone. But as far as driving, I didn't drive from like 2010 till I think summer of 2016.
Wow.
So I couldn't drive that whole time.
Because of the eye issue.
Yeah, because I couldn't see that great, and it was very blurry, and I could see multiple like images.
Hmm.
Like, my best way to describe it to other people is not to the same extreme, but like a kaleidoscope.
Oh wow.
Like, you look at an image and then you see a part of it just kind of like floating in a different spot where it shouldn't be. And
Wow.
couldn't drive because of that, and the vision on top of it was really bad. So
So like fast forwarding to today, like what's your vision like now? Is it back to like what it used to be before you had these like problems?
no, I have glasses now. Well, I had glasses then, but I didn't really need them. Now I need my glasses to drive.
Hmm.
I feel like I can function all right with most tasks without my glasses now. My vision in my left eye is actually better than it was then because of the preventive surgery.
Yeah.
The right eye though is it's very blurry and it's really bad. But with glasses, I can do just about anything. I'm not restricted or anything like that.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they said it might get better still as the years go on. But I can never have like contacts unless I get hard contact lenses. I tried those, I can never get them to work, so we kind of dropped that one.
Okay.
Can never have LASIK surgery, which also my brothers found out too, because apparently they also have the genetic condition. They went to my doctor to get LASIK surgery, and he told both of them that they both have the same thing and they can't have it. And he
Wow.
wanted to do a case study on them because he had never seen multiple siblings have the same genetic issue for that. And I was like, that's really cool, right? Except for the part where they're just like so sad they saved all this money for that surgery and then couldn't get it.
Yeah. So did they do the genetic study or whatever that the
Yeah,
doctor
they
wanted
did.
to? Yeah.
They they both needed to have the preventive surgery on both eyes, and they did them at the same time.
Oh wow.
But they were both back within work in like within a month or two.
Okay.
And he
Well,
did the surgeries on the same day for them too. I was like, nice. Now you guys know what it's like for me, except mine was worse.
yeah,
But
you were the guinea pig, right?
pretty much, I was like
Um,
so disappointed. I was like,
s-
why?
so I'm guessing. I mean, I know part of the story too, but I'm guessing that a lot of your like also while you were at home and you couldn't like you couldn't drive, you couldn't do things
Yeah,
like that's also contributed to your weight gain as well.
yeah. I mean, the problem was just that different things, but like together is a huge problem. Like the video games and stuff, I was literally doing it from like the moment I would wake up till I'd go to bed, pretty
Hmm.
much, because I couldn't do anything else. Even playing video games was hard. I wore like sunglasses to like watch the screen, and like it still hurt. And so I wasn't even doing that all the time. I was like listening to like it wasn't Spotify, what was it back then? Pandora, I think it was called,
Yeah.
and like listening to like audiobooks and stuff like that, like and just laid in bed. So like zero activity level, and then any food that I have would have to be delivery or something that someone else bought, and it usually wasn't the best options. It was like frozen pizzas and stuff like that. And just like not only was I eating this, I was eating a lot of stuff like that on top of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like your own little version of My 600 Pound Life. If you've
For the
ever seen
most
that
part,
show,
yeah.
because like they always show the people that would either enable them or just the amount of stuff they get delivered.
Yeah, and that my big thing was the delivery because I got on disability when I went on when I had the cornea transplant,
Hmm.
and having all this extra income and not doing anything else and
Yeah.
having to spend anything, it's like, oh, look at all this food I'm gonna get. But it'd be like, oh, I get like pizza for lunch and then to get Chinese food for dinner and eat way too much of both and eat all of it myself,
Yeah.
which is like it makes me laugh now, but it's like I didn't even bat an eye to any of that.
Pun intended, huh?
Yeah.
So you do all this, like you have this time. So at what point was it that you like decided to try to lose weight like this time before it stuck? Like, did you meet with like a doctor, or was it like a family like intervention that they're just like we need you to like you're getting too big, or was it anything else that led to it?
Um, there's a few things, in my opinion, that kind of got me like motivated to do it. There's like two big ones to me, and then just like a lot of minor stuff. The minor stuff was like I was having problems with my legs. They were like super swollen with water and stuff because I wasn't active and I was sitting all the time. My feet were super swollen.
Hmm.
My legs were like starting to change colors.
Yeah.
Um, I was getting a lot of discoloration and like I was getting like cellulitis, stuff like that, and just a lot of like infections and like other stuff. And like it was getting really hard also to like buy clothes and like do simple tasks like even like walking around the house and like just like stuff that you take for granted. It's like super easy, but it's like now it's a chore and it's a hassle. And like
Yeah,
you
like
get
even walking, like walking upstairs or something would be,
yeah, like I
if
struggle to walk up my stairs to where my bathroom and bedroom are. Where it was like such a pain to walk up the stairs, and like I'd be out of breath and I'd be sweating just from like
Mhm.
going up the stairs.
Yeah.
And it's just those minor stuff were starting to become a problem. So I started going to the doctor, but like my goal wasn't really to lose weight. It's just like, well, now I have an opportunity. Like I have health insurance, and it's like I'd go and I'd be like, whatever, which is
So,
like a shitty outcome.
so did your doctor then like start to nudge you towards like that you need to lose weight, or I know they all always say talk about your weight, right? Because anytime that you're
Actually,
big,
the
you,
guy that I went to the first
yeah,
time, he didn't say anything about it. He's like, you already know,
yeah,
pretty much. He's like, you probably won't make it to 30 at the rate you're going up. Like, and I don't know how much old I was, probably 27, maybe 28.
yeah,
So it wasn't that far off from 30, but it's just like, all right. Um, but no, like a few months later, like at that point, because like I had moved at that point, but to where I'm now. But like the two big ones for me is like one of my friends that I used to talk to a lot more than she told me like about the transplant and like in the nicest way of putting it, like someone had to have like died somehow, don't really know how, and then their cornea is what you have now.
yeah.
So like you can't let it go to waste. Like someone is essentially dead for you to have that opportunity to like have vision. Like you need to do something with it.
So,
Um,
very true. I mean, it can be a little brutal when you first hear it, but
yeah, and like I thought about it more, and like that was one of the motivators. Slightly jumping ahead, I tried because everyone always asks. I don't know anything about the donor. I tried.
yeah, okay,
I wrote like letters to them. They never responded. Like telling them a bit about my story and stuff, and like was hoping to learn more about the person, but they never responded. I don't even know if they really got them. I sent it to my eye doctor, and like they forwarded it to the eye bank, and they said they would handle it, and it was up to them to respond if they wanted to. They had my contact info.
okay, yeah, that's
Never really, as
fair.
far as I know. But the second motivator was my older brother told me that his wife was pregnant,
Hmm.
and that they were gonna. I don't know if he actually knew yet or if he was guessing. I think it was kind of early, by like the time frame in my head of when she was born to when he told me. I don't think he actually knew, but like hypothetically said, oh, we're having a baby girl, and like if you want to like be a part of our life to like see her grow up, you're gonna have to make changes and stuff. So like, I can do it. I can try to help you if you need help, but you're gonna have to make these changes. If you want to be around for it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was another one where you're like, it's true, but you kind of are like not sure how to take it maybe when you first hear it,
Yeah,
because
I mean, I was like, I
it
was
can be
upset.
pretty brutal, right? And
Yeah,
it does get you upset because you're like, you know that you shouldn't, like, you really shouldn't be as that out of shape or that level of
yeah,
uh of a sedentary life, right?
yeah, and it's just like I didn't know what to do, and like I thought, um, I don't know. I know I was upset. I was definitely just like irritated that he said something to me about it, but no one had ever really said much about it, to be honest.
Hmm.
I think my parents at that point were starting to get on me about it more, but
Okay.
I mean, I know I was an adult, but still, they're just like, hey, like this isn't really like normal. Like, it's not okay. But
Yeah.
as far as like friends, like it's not that they didn't care. I just felt like they thought it was awkward to like they didn't know how I'd handle it. Maybe I don't know. They just never really said anything. But I know they definitely cared.
Yeah, I mean a lot of us, that get to that size, because even if you still look at it now, you're like, oh, nobody said anything. But if somebody said something to you when you were that size, what would be your reaction?
Awkward.
Yeah, or like you'd be like,
So,
man, man, f off, right? Like, or
yeah, I had a
something like
moment.
that.
Like someone said something to me once. I got really pissed.
Yeah. So after, like, you mentioned your brother talked to you about it, and your friend who mentioned the donation of the for the eye surgery. So after you get these two things that happen, like what was it that you did next to try to start like figuring out how to lose weight like
I went to
consistently?
a new doctor.
Okay.
Because the one I had was just a temporary one, so I got a primary with the new health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal was to, because everyone at that point, like, I didn't know a ton of people still, but like the people that I kind of knew in the area since I lived here, like I wasn't really going out much, so very limited. But the people I talked to, everyone suggested the same thing, to get like I always forget what it's called, and I feel really silly right now. But like sleeve, or like the RNY,
Gastric bypass or gastric sleeve,
yeah. And like,
VSG, right?
they told me to do it, so I suggested it to my doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I think I have to do this. I don't really know what to do. And he was just like, I think it's a good step that you want to do this and you're willing to jump right in it and ask for the referral. But he's like, I don't want to write the referral yet, till I'm confident you're serious about it. And he said, because they're going to tell you to do the same thing that I'm telling you now. So if you can do what they're going to ask you first with me, I'll write you a referral. I know some people in the area who do the surgery all the time and are really, really, good at this. Like they do it a lot. Like it's an
Mm-hmm.
out, like uh, really good people that he would send me to. So basically, he's like, you just need to lose weight first. And like the scale wasn't working, obviously, but he's like, you'll know. And like I was like, all right. His recommendation though for me was just start trying to be a little more active. Like he knows that walking isn't very, it's not easy for me. To just try to walk more, and just stop drinking alcohol and stop drinking soda and only drink water. He said coffee was fine though, but
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't at the time. I wasn't really drinking coffee, so it's pretty much just water. I didn't really drink alcohol that much, but it definitely was something I had. Soda, that was huge for me. I was drinking soda, like even just diet soda, like multiple bottles a day.
Yeah.
Uh, but even just doing that for the first month of just switching to water, I lost like a ton of weight. Like I'm not sure how much, but I could just tell with clothes. And like he couldn't believe it when I saw him in that month. So we did it for a second month, and then he's like, "Okay, now I want you to try um, changing your diet a bit." And his suggestion was, it's essentially to me low carb, not keto, but just like cutting
Mm-hmm.
out a lot of like bread, pasta, stuff like that. I forget what he was calling it, low glycemic diet.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
like I ate a lot of fruit and like broccoli, and like started eating a lot more chicken. A lot of this was like, obviously my choice, but thinking I was doing what he wanted. I think it kind of was in some ways, but just doing that and just adding the more walking, I started losing more and more weight. And then um, I made an Excel spreadsheet of all the streets in my town and like measuring the distance with Google Maps. So I was trying to get myself to just walk further every day,
Oh
even if
wow.
it was just like a little bit further. And like I'd leave notes of like where it was okay, because I didn't really know the town that well. Like I was trying to find like where there was benches that I could sit at, or places that I could sit, and then just measure distance.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
like I got really into it.
let me pause for 1 second.
Yeah, is everything okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be
I just
right
saw you
back.
looking around a bunch, so I wasn't sure
Yeah,
if something was
I'm
wrong.
looking for the dog leashes.
Uh,
So, and we're back. We have a bit of technical difficulty. So before we had a break here, Mike was talking about how he had mapped out his route on benches along his route. So, Mike, take it from there.
yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I just mapped out using distances on Google Maps and then an Excel spreadsheet of like the street names and like the distance. I was trying to figure out just how far I'd go every day and try to push it just a little bit further. Like nothing crazy. Like even if it was like just half a little bit more of the street and then back.
Yeah,
And that took me to, quite a while ago. I started losing weight. I wasn't as hard to do a lot of this stuff. So I feel like I must have lost a little bit, like a decent amount still, but I have no idea.
hmm
Um, because I wasn't really going to the doctor as much to like weigh in. But somewhere during that point, I had gone back and I had turned down the referral for the specialist. Um,
So why did you turn down the referral? Because you were doing so well on your own without needing the
yeah,
surgery?
yeah. It was a mix of two things. One is I was doing really well, and I wanted to see how far I could push it before having surgery, because like it was still on my radar that I'd probably have it at some point,
Mm-hmm.
because like I never really tried to lose weight before like this. So it was just like a mix of I kind of want to see how I can do first before I have to have it. But the second is just because of like how long the recovery was from my eye transplant, or sorry, cornea transplant. I was kind of nervous about the idea of having surgery again. Like, what if something goes wrong, or what if it ends up being a bad idea? Like, I didn't like the idea of having surgery again, like a major surgery.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of pushed it off to the point where I just decided not to.
Okay.
And I always thought I'd go back to it, and I never did. But that's pretty much with that.
So over the course of like a few months, like you lose a lot of weight, right?
Yeah.
And so then you're like getting better with walking, and then like did you start like going to a gym, like going to the gym to like lift at all, or was it just all walking at that point?
I want to say the first 5, 6 months were just walking and changing the diet and the water.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was significant. I wish I knew how much it actually was, but I do know is that local YMCA in my town opened up, and as soon as they did, I joined immediately, pretty much. And um, my big thing with that, like part of my story that they share a lot, even, is it's about 5.5 miles or so from my house to there,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't driving yet, so I walked there. It took forever. I don't even remember, like 3.5 hours, maybe 4.
So you walked there, the 5.5 miles there,
Yeah.
and then what did you do when you were there?
I went into the locker room and used the shower without a change of clothes, and called. I don't remember if it was my mom or someone else I knew to come get me. That I needed a ride home.
Okay, so you didn't actually like use the gym at all,
I
or
didn't
you
even
just
use it. I just wanted to see if I was capable of doing it, because I knew that if I was gonna go there, I may not always have a ride or a way to get there.
okay,
So I want to see if it was possible that I could do this myself.
yeah,
And I learned that day that not having a ride was probably not the best option if I'm just done as soon as I get there. Because I
yeah,
wasn't going to
yeah.
spend another two and
Because
a
I
half,
mean,
3.5 hours walking home after that. It's
yeah,
like a whole day event doing that, walking there and back. Like, why even get the membership then? But when I did start going though, I didn't know how to do anything because I'd never really gone to a gym before besides like the stuff in high school. But I didn't really know
hmm
even really know how to use the equipment then. I was only there for like a week or two. But all I did is I used a treadmill and the track. They have like an indoor track. I just
yeah.
used those two things for like months.
That's cool. I mean, at least you, especially like, I know you're in New York State, so wintry months can get a little dicey with the
Yeah.
amount of snow.
So like
Um,
I'd done it for months, those things. Eventually, two things happened that really pushed me to do more. Um, their first year was technically like June to like December for like the 2015 year.
okay,
Um, when January came around for the next year, I had received in the mail to come to the member services desk with a letter. And when I got there, it was to congratulate me for being one of the top like 50 members with the most sign-ins.
okay, that's cool.
And they gave me like a shirt and stuff, and like I was super like excited about it.
Hmm
But when I was there picking it up, I met a guy at the member services desk who he had seen me there like all the time, and like because he realized I was going so much, like he tried to do like classes with me and like tried to get me to like do more and not
Hmm.
just, use a treadmill or walk on the track. So I did like a water fitness class with him. I don't even remember. It was I don't know. I mean, I don't know what other Ys have. I think you go to a Y too, right?
Yeah, they have water fitness and all kinds of
Um,
different classes.
the class is hydro running. You go in the deep end on a tether, and you just like run in place.
Okay,
And there
that's
was some
cool.
other classes I tried to. It was okay. It wasn't like my favorite, but it was something different,
Hmm.
Um, eventually I tried using the lap lanes, but I'm a very good swimmer, which is a different story, and it's so for a
Yeah,
later time.
yeah. I'm slow. So like during the pandemic, they had reservations for the swimming. And I like that because I got my own lane. Didn't have to worry about anybody like going around
And
me. But
I'm
not
jealous
now.
of
It's
that,
like
to be
first come
honest.
first serve. So there's no more reservations.
I really wish I would have had an opportunity to do that
Mm,
COVID during that time. But yeah, that was one thing I hated about it because I'd show up to swim because I did want to switch to swimming because I felt like I got better workout and I enjoyed
mhm.
doing something different. Every time I'd go there, the lap lanes would be filled, and I didn't want to sit there and wait for a lane to show up.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it nearly as much as I wanted. But if it was open, that'd be the first thing I do. Like, oh, going in right now.
Hmm.
So instead, I just did the walking and running, or sorry, the walking and track.
Okay.
But eventually, I did one of the water classes with that member service guy who works in member services, and he uh, introduced me to like the instructor after who had a weight loss story of herself, how she lost a ton of weight. She had one of the surgeries, and how she's also a coach for the walk and running club. Um, they have different levels. There's like a beginner, which is like walk to run, and then a medium, which is just like the running group, and then their like advanced one is like the half marathon training team.
Okay. And anybody that follows you on Instagram will know that like you run a lot. So is
Yeah, so
that's where you got started into running, I'm assuming. Um,
yeah, I started with the walk to run group, and then I've eventually since then have moved up now to being a part of their half marathon training group.
which is pretty incredible considering that, a couple of years ago you like just walking a little bit was, a
Yeah, like
struggle,
struggling
right?
to go up and down the stairs. So like it
Yeah.
ended up like so it was hard at first, obviously for me. Like I kept trying to push myself with the suggestions they had. It'd be a lot of walking and then a little bit of running to where then it got like more of a split and then eventually mostly running. But
Yeah. So as you're like running more and more, like did you find that like because like I know so many people so many times with people when they start to like have a physical change, like it affects them in other ways. Like you get more confident in other areas of your life, not just the physical. Like because like you couldn't run, like you never thought you could run, right? When you were like big,
yeah,
or like you had. I know I always had the thing like, why would I want to go outside and sweat and like walk for like 2 hours, right?
yeah,
When I could just sit inside in the air conditioning during the middle of the summer.
pretty much.
But so did you find like you getting more confident and like wanting to do more things that you didn't want to do before you had lost a lot of weight and had gotten more active?
Well, I mean, it definitely one pushed me to start working again. They actually approached me from uh the director of the Y that I go to, that they saw me there every day and they asked me if I had any interest in working with children, which was like really awkward at first because it was like, what? But which I did when I went to school originally the first time.
Mhm.
My major I wanted it to be education.
Okay.
Um, so like I had done childcare in high school for a class and like introduction to education and some education classes. So it wasn't like so the answer I guess is yes, I did have some interest in working with children. Um, because like
It is a pretty strange, like just out of the blue thing,
yeah,
right?
well to the person who I'm friends with, the director, she was just pretty much like the truth is, I know it now that since I've been working for them, that they are really desperate for people. uh, and I don't mean that as a slam, but like I just know that's why they asked. They knew, or she knew about me, and she knew that I lived very close to one of the schools near me,
Mhm.
which they run a program there for childcare,
Okay.
like with literally walking distance. Like I can see it from my house some days when the leaves aren't on the trees. Like it's only about a half mile
All right.
away. So they only
That's not too
wanted
bad.
me, yeah, they only wanted me to work. It was 5 days a week, but like it wasn't very long. It's like 7 a.m. to like 9 a.m. 5 days a week. And
Yeah.
if I did that, I would get free membership to the Y.
Okay.
So that's why they wanted me to do it. And honestly, I don't even think they cared if like I did anything. Just show up. Like we need bodies at
Yeah.
that point because things were bad at that point when I
Huh.
first joined, which
That's
like feels shitty in my head now when I look back at it.
yeah.
But like it was it was fun. I worked with them. I really enjoyed it. Um, I I did it for like 5 years, and
Awesome.
eventually I started doing afternoons and doing a lot more, and I moved up, and like it's something I realized I actually enjoyed working with children, but not enough to not want to do like now. Like I definitely want to do nursing. Like I
Yeah.
definitely didn't want to go back for education. I just at this point I was just like not interested. But I do like working with children though.
That's cool.
But
So did you just like you just found like kind of your groove, right? Like getting back into
yeah,
working
so I was getting back into working.
and
I was doing
then
myself
you're
like
like
different things that weren't me kind of thing. Like exploring more, doing more things that were not
yeah.
staying home and playing video games, pretty much.
Yeah, so one thing I know we both had in 2019 was about I think we had them about a month apart. We both had what's called a panniculectomy,
Yeah.
which for the uninitiated you can Google it, but you'll get a lot of not safe for work images when you do. So basically, it's like a tummy tuck, but they don't make it look nice. Um,
Yeah. Looks
so,
terrible, I'm gonna be honest, for mine.
yeah, so it doesn't look great on mine either. But basically the stomach is a panis, and that's the pan part of the panniculectomy, and they just cut excess like skin, or if you have like like other like lymphedema. I know a lot of people have it for lymphedema. That's what I had it for, and they cut it off, and then you don't have this excess anymore, but it doesn't look like all nice and fancy like a tummy tuck would, where it looks like a beach body basically, right? So you got I think you got yours in like August ish, right?
The 27th, I believe, of August 2019.
Hey, that's good memory for me. Um, and
It
then
is
I got
actually.
mine October 7th, so we were about 5 weeks apart. So what was it that led you to wanting to get that done?
Um, well, I had tried months prior to get skin removal because at that point that I had it, I was around like 230 pounds, 220 pounds,
Hmm.
which is pretty much where I'm at now. But I had tried, and my insurance wouldn't cover any of it.
Yeah, just
Which,
like every other insurance, I
yeah, which
think.
I think is like everyone. So I don't. It's nothing different. Like it shouldn't be like someone be like, "Wow, really?" Unless you're from Canada, they probably do everything, or maybe they don't. I don't know. But yeah. So I went one day. It was in July. No, it was like very early August. I had
Hmm.
been feeling sick. Um, I'd been drinking a lot more with friends at that point from like work coworkers, and I thought I was just drinking too much, is why I felt really shitty.
Hmm.
But it turns out I had a really bad skin infection on my stomach. It was causing like a fever, and I was like throwing up. And I went, and my doctor was like, "Oh yeah, like he noticed something that I didn't even notice. I don't even remember what it was, but like he knew that it was like a skin infection, and that it was
Yeah.
on like the extra skin that would hang at the bottom of my stomach. And they sent me to plastic surgeon who I had already gone to, who denied. I got denied for everything for it, but he's like, "We'll try," you know.
Yeah.
And he told me, don't get your hopes up. But they sent me a message back like a week later or so, and they're like, they gave me some weird time frame, which everyone finds really odd, and I still do too. But they were like, you have like a week and a half or 2 weeks to get the skin removal since you had the skin infection and you probably still have it, which I think I still semi did, but they need to make sure it was cleared first before they did surgery.
Yeah.
But they were like, you have this time frame, you need to have it done before September,
Oh wow.
or we won't cover it. So they would only cover just the that surgery, and it had to be done within like the 2.5 weeks or whatever it is at that point.
Yeah, so it was related to the fact that you had the skin infection, and
Yeah.
they could probably get it covered under insurance because of the skin infection.
Yep. And
Wow.
that process for me was pretty easy. The parts that weren't is the day before surgery, I was on the phone with um, my insurance company.
Hmm.
They wanted me to have my doctor wanted me to have a wound vac machine,
Yeah.
which is supposed to just make the healing process significantly easier. He uses it for all his surgeries. But my insurance wouldn't cover it because they said there was no proof of a wound. And I said many times, my surgery's tomorrow. There will most definitely be a wound. And then after the guy finally got it, he's like, oh, well, this is what you need to do. You need to wait till after surgery, have them have proof of it, and then send it in then, and we'll make sure it gets covered by the time you're done with surgery that day.
Wow.
I was like,
That's
really?
insane.
It's like, wow, okay. He's like, all right. So
That's insane.
that worked out. The only mishaps I had were the day of when I woke up after surgery.
Hmm.
When I first went to the bathroom, I ended up passing out. They said
Yeah.
there was a release of too much fluid that was stored in my bladder, was putting pressure on like a vein or sorry, like a nerve or something behind it.
Oh wow.
And just from releasing like urine, it
Yeah.
caused a response where I fainted.
Wow. Yeah. So I had I didn't have a wound back, but when I had mine, I had trouble with my blood pressure being too low. Like initially after the surgery, like I was in the hospital for
Yeah,
like an extra 2 days because of it. Because like I remember I was supposed to go home like after the third day, and like my blood pressure was still like barely over 100. It was like 105, 103 over like 60 or something, which is like low. And I mean, my old one before I had lost a lot of my weight used to be like 140 over 100. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy, like the little things that, especially when you have so much excess fluid and stuff removed from your body, like all
yeah,
of a sudden, like you get like you have the surgery done, and you're like you lose some weight instantly, and then you pass out like that's the worst. Just not being able to control like your normal bodily movements like that.
yeah. I remember just being super upset because I was like, man, was this surgery like a terrible idea? Like, am I
Yeah.
dying? Did I do something wrong? Is this a wrong choice?
I actually thought I had those like am I dying thoughts when I was when I had my surgery done. And I was like, because it was just like brutal, like the recovery those first few days where you're like in so much pain. Because I had like a ton of pain. And then because I was on like oxycodone for, I don't know. I had a prescription for like I think I had it enough for like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
But I didn't. I only took it for about a week and a half to 2 weeks because I don't like taking those drugs because I don't know. It just gets weird. Like I don't like how I feel when I'm on them. So
yeah. I was on sorry, tramadol, I
yeah, I
think
had
it was,
tramadol too. Yeah,
and I didn't take a single one of them. I felt fine the entire time.
really.
I was never in pain. The only problem I had was the fainting, and then oh, I had to go back. I had to go back to the emergency room on Labor Day because I woke up in the middle of the night when I was home to use the bathroom.
Hmm.
And when I was leaving the bathroom on the doorknob, my wound vac machine, one of the cords was on the doorknob and it got stuck on it. And because it was like 3 in the morning and I was tired as shit, it just pulled out.
Wow.
Yeah, and I called my doctor at 3 in the morning. and he was pissed.
I
It's
bet.
like he was just like, "Well, I'm actually out of town." They have a 24 number for the plastic
Yeah.
surgery place, but he was pissed. He's like, "Well, I can't do it, but if you come to the emergency room at the place that you had the surgery, one of the people who's on my team is working in the emergency room. He'll fix it for you."
Okay.
I spent a ton of time there waiting, and then he fixed it within like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
how long did you have the wound back in?
a week.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean,
I think,
so did you have like drains or anything, or was it just the wound
yeah,
back?
I had two drains, and I think those were gone within 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks for me as well.
I started
So
running again by mid September,
okay,
if
wow,
even. But my primary doctor, I realize he's not my surgeon, but my primary doctor was pissed. When I went to him again in October, he's like, "Wait, what?" Because I went back to work like the second week of September,
yeah,
and he was like really mad. He's like, "That's not safe." Like he's like, "You should not be working until probably like January or running till like January for like
yeah,
both those things."
yeah. I couldn't go back to work for about a month after I had the surgery. Because I mean, I could have went back after 3 weeks, but my doctor just told me to take it till the fourth week because he's like, yeah, it's just better that way. Because he's like, there's no reason to rush back. Because he said that I could wind up like just doing it too fast, and I still had like some drain. I still had two drains in at that point after the third
Yeah.
week. So, but at the end of
Um,
that week, I had him gone.
my big thing was that I was like, all right, so the running was probably dumb on my part, but I really wanted to get back into it because my doctor was pushing it that,
Hmm.
it's good to get back into your routines and like it'll be healthy for you to be exercising with this and like it's fine. Like
Yeah,
there's no problem. But like the one thing I do remember is I was super tired for a long time because it turns out that I was anemic from the surgery.
oh
So they put
wow,
me on like slow iron medication and stuff like that. But I was exhausted. I went to work for the longest time and I'd go to my morning shift, I'd run and then sleep for hours and then get up and go to my afternoon shift and then come home, eat dinner, and then go right to bed.
wow, wow.
It was like I was
so, so,
barely operated.
so, I know that you have a side effect from your surgery,
Oh, yes, a side
and,
effect.
I don't have the same side effect. So what's that one?
Uh, I have this line that goes across my stomach, and no, I don't have a belly button,
Yeah.
which is like the weirdest thing still to me. But I'm mad about it in a sense because when I had the surgery, like right before the surgery, the doctor originally was like, "Oh, you're not gonna have a belly button anymore," and then he asked if I wanted to look at like pictures and stuff of like belly buttons because they'll craft you one and cost extra money, obviously. And I think it was like 3,000 or 4,000 for a belly
Yeah.
button,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I can't see myself paying 3,000 or 4,000 for a belly button. Like I thought about it for a while too, so I was like, maybe I should because if I do the surgery at a later point, you got to pay more money for like anesthesia and like
Yeah.
all stuff. So I didn't. But the only thing that got me mad is the day of surgery. He's like, we were looking at it more. We think we're gonna be able to keep your belly button.
Hmm.
And I was like, awesome. And
Yeah.
then like 2 weeks later or a week and a half later, when they finally took off all like the padding and like started putting on like a compression belt,
Yeah.
it's like shit, there's definitely not a belly button there because no one told me that it wasn't gonna be there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was under the impression it was now there and it's now back to not being there. I was like, well, that sucks.
So they told me that I likely wouldn't have it anymore, and they told me I could buy one too. And I refused. I was like, no, I'm fine with it.
Did they tell you the same pricing or
I didn't even. I knew it was gonna be like more. I knew it was gonna be money that I didn't want to pay. So, and
yeah.
I was like, it serves no purpose after birth, right? I mean, so I was just like, I don't care. But then I still have it. Because
Do you think you should?
they were like, good news, we saved your belly button. I was like, great. I don't really care. It was not important to me. I'm also not going shirtless at the beach, so I won't look weird.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you were asking something about.
Do you have like feeling like in the surgery area and stuff or like altered? Because
like the
mine's a little messed. Because mine's kind of messed up.
yeah. So I mean, right, the scar, I don't feel it, but I do sometimes get the phantom like sensations, like where you used to have excess skin every now and then, like um
Well, I have like placement issues.
what do you mean?
My camera is not going to be able to show it, but
Okay.
if you poke me at my sides, it
Mm-hmm.
feels like it's more towards the front because they pulled a little bit.
Okay.
So
Huh.
like if I get hit sometimes from something on the side, it feels like it's closer to like my
Oh
front.
yeah, I haven't actually thought it. Huh. That's interesting.
It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes, and I notice it if I get hit like fast
Yeah.
by something. So it's not completely gone, but it's definitely not right sometimes where it's like, all right, I feel like I'm getting poked like, you know,
Yeah.
closer to my belly button than it is, and it's not because I can physically see what's touching me sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
weird.
Huh. Yeah, that is different. Yeah, I haven't. I also don't get hit with anything usually too often, so that's why I can't really say. Now I'll have to try it. Right.
Maybe it's not always hitting, but
Yeah,
I'm just
well,
saying
yeah,
it's
I mean,
like
just
something
like
gets
touching, like having not me touch it, but someone else, right?
yeah,
Because if I touch it, I know my hands are at my side
yeah,
versus at my front. And I have that nice hip to hip scar as well. So,
yeah.
um, all right. So we talked about like getting up to the surgery, all that, and now you've lost like the 365. So like, what are some like goals that you have for like, let's say the next, even the end of this year into next year that you like want to achieve along your journey? It doesn't have to be like weight loss, but like anything.
Well, for non weight loss related, I'd say definitely nursing. Uh, Following through with it at this point. I mean, I know
Hmm.
I'm registered for my classes already. Just following through and like dedicating the time that I need to it, which I guess kind of goes to like my second one. Like I know what I'm about to say, it's kind of silly, but like kind of honest is I want to do better with like my time management. Because like I feel like I'm gonna have a lot going on with nursing as far as like studying, clinicals, all that. But I still want to make sure that I'm on top of like not eating terribly, like still focusing on like making time to like figure out what I'm doing for meals, when I'm getting my exercise in, because I don't want to give up on my running at this point. Like I
Yeah.
want to be able to have my long run still. I still want to be able to do these other things. And like I still want to, keep in touch with family and friends and stuff like that. And I feel like one of the things I struggle with now even is my time management is not the best. Like I feel like I'm getting the important stuff in, but there's other important things that I've been letting slide a bit more that I feel like I want to be on top of it. Like I need to be more focused on getting the important stuff in. If that
Okay.
makes
That's very fair. Yeah. Um, all right. So, um, it's awesome. So I know that one thing that you've done a lot is running marathons, and I know you have a few you're thinking of doing this year, possibly.
we'll
So
see.
yeah, we'll see. So as you're preparing for like, just out of curiosity, like, because I know I've heard people talk about training for marathons.
Yeah,
Like
it's
how
a
long do you
time.
usually train for? Like, is there like a certain amount of months that you like just run every couple days to just train for it, or
So
is it like a shorter amount of time?
I mean, everyone has their own training plan. Some people who are like, have been doing it forever, obviously can just ramp up and do what they feel is necessary to get them through the
Hmm.
marathon. Uh, to give the example of the one I'm doing now, um, the next race I'm doing, it's a little skewed because it was supposed to be Memorial Day weekend, but it got because of COVID, it got moved to the 27th of June.
Okay.
My training plan for it started the last weekend of January.
Oh wow. Okay. So six
And
months
yeah,
basically.
yeah. And like mine's a little bit longer because of the month skip. So technically five, but there's people who I know have like 3 month plans or 4 month
Hmm.
plans.
Okay. That's cool.
Um, so like it started off like week one, your long run will be 13 miles, and it slowly ramps up to a point where you get to like this weekend I'm at now. mine's a little bit skewed because I had to alter everything with the 1 month change. But if it didn't, it was like I got to like 18 one weekend, 20, 22, 24, 22, 24, I think then like 18, 16,
All
and
right.
then like 12. And then there's my weekly runs. Like people have different ones, but I try to do 1 day of hill workout, 1 day of speed, and then some base runs where I just run for like an hour.
Awesome. All right. So the way I like to kind of get towards the end of the podcast is I like to ask each guest about a hobby or interest they have. I mean, obviously you like running a lot.
Yeah.
So we kind of covered that a bunch. I didn't know if you had anything else you'd want to bring up. It can be doesn't be weight loss related. I just like
As far
to
as
like
like
get to know.
hobbies.
Yeah, I just like to get to know each person a little bit more than just weight loss, because I feel like weight loss you can hear you or anyone on multiple podcasts and they
Yeah.
talk about this. It's basically the same gist of what your story is, right? Because it's not, the story doesn't change that much.
Yeah. Um, Obviously running has been, a huge part. It's something I consider like as an activity, as a hobby that I really enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, there are other fitness ones that have become a big part of it, but I've been kind of off it because of that marathon training. But I really enjoy biking in my free time now. Um,
Awesome.
because I ended up doing a triathlon at some point, and swimming didn't really stick with it, but the biking is something I really enjoyed.
Cool.
I do spend a lot of my free time. Well, not as much now, but it is something I would still consider a hobby. Like I still play video games here and there, not like a crazy amount like I used to, but there's some weeks and nights that I'll still play with friends just to keep in touch.
And that's nice because you can play online. Like you don't have to, I mean, if you
Yeah,
can't physically be in the same place, right?
yeah, that's why it's big for me. Because a lot of my friends still live in like New Jersey, and I have friends that have moved to like California, and it's just like it's the only way we can do stuff
Yeah.
still. We do talk a bit on Discord here and there,
Okay.
but reading I was into for a little bit. That's a back and forth thing. It's still a little tricky with my eyes. Sometimes it gives me headaches if I read for too long, so that's made school a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Definitely TV shows and movies are a hobby. I know a lot of people don't like those as like something as a hobby in TV show, but I've always been really into like sci-fi stuff. So um, I haven't been as great recently with that because I feel like I'm just really busy with school and work, but I would still consider those as something I'd like to do if I had more free time.
Yeah. I mean,
And I
that's
still
the
do it
problem.
when I have time here and there.
That's
But
the problem. There's never enough time for all the because there's
yeah,
so many things to watch, like on all these streaming services and television.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's
So
pretty much my big ones of why I feel like I struggle. There's just not enough time in the day anymore for me with like work and school
it,
plus running and like
that kind of comes back to your time management thing, right?
yeah,
Yeah. All right. So
that's not,
cool. All right. So we like to end at each podcast is I like to ask 5 questions. You kind of answered one of them already.
yeah.
But it's in a segment called Brett's Corner. So question number 1 is in the next year, what movie, TV show, or event are you most excited for?
Um, as far as event, I'll throw that one just right at the marathon that I've been training for, just because I've been training for it for like 6 months.
Yeah.
It's Buffalo Marathon, 27th of June. As far as the other two, like movie and TV show, one of them is Loki. I've been like waiting for. It. I'm hoping it doesn't.
Yeah. I'm excited for that one.
And the other one, I don't. I think it's a reboot. I'm not 100% because I haven't been up with it, but like I heard about it and I've been like secretly just like kind of hoping it'll be good. Is the Suicide Squad?
Oh yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think it has anything to do with the other one, right?
Well, some of the characters are in it.
Same,
Yeah. So like
like same, like actual actors, or like the
yeah,
same. Is it
same
like
actors.
is
Yeah.
it a continuation or is it a retelling?
It's a
Because I've heard
retell.
different things and
I
I'm
believe
just
it's a
I'm
retelling.
confused. But I'm like I like that kind of stuff, so I'll watch it. But
Because I think Harley Quinn's in it, right? I think she's in it again.
I think so. I don't know a whole lot. I heard about it like in the last like 2 weeks. I
and
was
some of
like,
the
oh
other guys.
really?
I know Will Smith is not in it,
Oh right.
but I think Idris Elba. I don't know if he's replacing Will Smith as Deadshot or he's just a different character, like kind of in the lead of the group, like Will Smith's character was. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm also excited just to see King Shark like eating people.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've always been really into superhero stuff, so like
Yeah.
that none of this should surprise
Yeah,
anyone.
yeah. Last week on the show, Ben Phelps and I, Ben Jitsu, we talked all about Marvel and DC stuff in our little hobby and interest segment. But yeah, it's crazy what they're doing, and I'm really excited for that because it'll be on HBO Max, so I don't have to go to the theater and see it.
Yeah, that's something I've enjoyed. Is a lot of stuff on there. I've also
Yeah.
enjoyed. I'm sure you have. I know the answer is yes, so I don't even know why I'm asking. Like watching a lot of Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't watch a ton. I've watched the Marvel shows, the Star
Yeah,
Wars.
yeah. That's what
I
I kind of.
watched The Mandalorian, and then I watched I've been watching
Yeah, I
The
watch.
Simpsons. I've been watching The Simpsons from the beginning because
Really,
I used to catch it sporadically because as a
I've
kid
thought about it.
I wasn't allowed to
All
watch it as a kid. So I'm in
I
like
watched
season
a ton of it
4.
as a kid, but like there's so many seasons. I don't think I could ever watch the start to end again.
Yeah, I'm in like season 4. So I haven't gone that far into it, but I mean,
It's
there's
good though.
32 seasons. So
It's good though.
yeah, yeah, it's easy to watch because it's 20-minute episodes. So
Yeah.
it's like I'll watch a couple and then I'll turn it on something else if I'm
I think
still
whenever
watching
I got
TV.
to high school is when I stopped with The Simpsons and
Mm,
entertaining.
yeah.
But as a kid, I loved it though. I'm sure I'd enjoy it if I watched it now if I gave it a
Yeah.
shot.
Okay, so number 2 is what are 2 non-health related goals you have for the next year, but you already answered that.
Yeah.
So number 3, if someone came up to you saying they were lacking motivation to stay consistent, what 3 pieces of advice would you give them?
Um. So two of my answers to that are kind of strange to me, but maybe they're really not. One is you really need to think about your motivation and like really figure out if it's the right motivation for you in the sense that like is there more to it or like is it really what's driving you to like be motivated.
Mhm.
The second is at least for me because like when you the way you well I know you had we had talked about it earlier. um One of them would be to reevaluate your goals for your motivation as far as um like I'm not like if you're getting disappointed and you're losing motivation and your goal would be like I don't know lose we're just gonna throw a number out lose like 100 pounds a week like you're gonna be disappointed because it's not feasible.
Lose 100 pounds in a
Like
week.
okay, so that was like the complete extreme end, but
Yeah.
like the thing is if like it's not something you're gonna be able to do or anyone will able to do, like both are just as bad. Like if it's something you physically can't do or your goal is something you can't do, of course you're gonna lose motivation when you're not reaching the goal.
Hmm.
So to me at least, and the way I was able, this is just myself obviously, but like maybe you'll agree to some point, is making a lot of goals but smaller and things that are within reach. Because like to me, if you have a goal, like it's great, like have a long term goal. But when it comes to like weight loss and motivation, I just feel like you need to be motivated, but you need to have goals that are actually in sight and that you can actually feel like you're reaching. Because if you don't reach a goal, you're going to get discouraged and you're going to lose your motivation.
Yeah, and I always tell people like because people will ask me what's my goal, and my like I always say my ultimate goal is to be like 250 pounds.
Yeah,
That's an ultimate goal, but I was like, but I had a goal. I used to on my Instagram bio before I had more stuff in it. I used to literally have like every 50 pounds was like a goal. So like every time I hit like when I hit like 50 pounds lost, 100 pounds lost, 150 pounds lost, like, it was a celebration-ish kind of thing. Now I'm trying to get to 250, and I've been kind of stagnating for a bit. But I know I'll get there. So it's also like you can celebrate stuff other than the scale.
yeah,
Like so much of it, like you can celebrate like NSVs, like sitting in a booth, using a not only needing one seatbelt at on an airplane when
yeah.
you fly, stuff like that. Like
They still do the same thing though, in the sense that it's going to make you feel better and it's going to boost your
Mhm.
motivation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's what it was for me. Like when I first started, I think I talked about this on Formies that I know you listen to. I don't remember if I did. Like sometimes I don't remember if it's just like I'm talking to you guys or if it actually was on something. But I made literally like a 10 to 5 pound goal list. Well, not a sorry, like a reward list.
Hmm.
So every time like I hit that, I'd like do something for myself because you know, trying to aim for things that are out of reach just you lose motivation if you don't find
Yeah.
smaller things to keep you
And one thing I
motivated
try not to
and
do is
entertained.
not to reward myself with a food.
Yeah, I never.
Yeah.
There was once I did that, but that was different.
Yeah.
I did it once for when I ran my first marathon. I was like, I'm gonna have pizza because like I never eat pizza anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, that night after doing a marathon, I feel like not that I deserve it, but it felt like a good goal to myself. Like, hey, you did a marathon, you can eat some pizza. Have fun. Go ahead.
Plus,
It's only $20.
how much stuff did you burn that whole day?
Oh,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
7,000, 6,000, 7,000 calories. I
Yeah.
think I have no, no. I'm just guessing.
Awesome.
But and I guess my last one is also to reevaluate what consistency is to you. In the sense, like this is the way at least I look at it is like when you say are you being consistent, at least to me, like it has to go with more like the second one about like your goals. But if your thing is like you want to be consistent, like could be how many days of the week do you feel like you're hitting your goals and like your plan or whatever it
Mhm.
is that keeps you going. Like for me, okay, 7 days a week, phenomenal. But I don't think to me that's realistic for a lot of people, especially if you're just starting and you're looking for motivation. But if you can get like 50% of your days to be like the consistency you want, like that's a good start.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
maybe even less than 50% still good. It really depends on yourself and how you feel about it. But I think setting your consist because like your question originally was about consistency and finding motivation to find consistency. But like if your consistency goal is something with the second one that isn't, obtainable to you yet, you're gonna get you're gonna lose motivation. So it's not really a change to motivation as much as it is fixing yourself with your idea of like consistency and your goals.
Yeah.
But as far as consistency, like you're still doing good if you're like, you're still making changes better than you were the day before or the weeks before. Cause like for me, like my easy example is like, I was eating takeout, 7 days a week, multiple times a day. If I'm only eating takeout, 5 times a week instead of seven, is it great? Probably not, but it's definitely better than 7 days a week.
It's not great, but like I always say, like small incremental changes like give you the sustained
Yeah.
results.
Yeah. And I think that'll give you the motivation. And when you start seeing progress, but like you need to set yourself up, to
Hmm.
succeed with your
Yes.
goals and consistency and the way you look at things. It doesn't change overnight. So if you can change your mindset, you'll definitely get more motivation
Yeah.
when you see the progress.
And sustainability is so key. Like you can go on
Yeah.
any fad diet that's out there right now. Like, I mean, you can pick your poison of a diet, but if you don't like find one that's going to be something you can sustain over
Yeah.
years.
And you have to figure something that's successful to you.
Yeah.
Because if you pick something that's not you, then you already know you're gonna fail,
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
you're not gonna find your motivation when you start seeing negative results.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always interesting because you always hear about people being motivated and they're always motivated like the first week and then the
Yeah,
second week. And then by the third
like
week,
like
it's
New
always the
Year.
third week where I'm like, all right, how's it going? Because, I have friends that tried to lose weight and then like by the third week, like you start to lose the motivation or like the willingness to stay on track. And like that's when the rubber hits the road, rubber meets the road. And you really find out like how committed they are to do it.
Yeah, I mean it's different for everyone, but that's how like to at least me, you see a lot of different from the resolutioners around like New Year's to
Hmm.
at least myself. Like, sure, I started really close to that, but like my motivation with like the eye stuff and like my niece were really big for me as motivators to really push.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like people find some motivation, but it's not like I don't know how to word it, but like it's not motivation that really resonates within them to like their core to like keep going or push.
Hmm.
They'll find something, it could be something silly, and then it gets them going for like a week or two, and then they just kind of give up because they lost their motivation. Which
Yeah.
sometimes I question if it has to do with like their consistency or their goals being way too, insane, or maybe their motivation really from the beginning wasn't that great for like the reasons why.
Yeah. And like you said, you have to find the small goals that you can really meet. Because if I mean, like you lose if you lose 2 pounds a week, that's 8 pounds in a month, right? Where and but if you want to if you want to lose 15 pounds in a month, can you really do nearly 4 pounds a week? Like it might not be possible for everyone. So
Yeah.
that's where reality needs to come into play too, like what you can actually do. So that's where it comes all back to sustainability.
Yeah.
Because you could do it like, I mean, the first week you might lose 7 pounds of water weight, and then the next week you gain a pound because you didn't like, who knows.
Yeah.
Body's weird. All right, so moving on to question number 4. What have you discovered about yourself during your journey that surprised you the most?
The two things, I mean, to me were really close. One is just how much I enjoyed being active and running
Hmm.
and doing like other workouts too, but mostly we'll just say running because that's my major one. It's just like, I'm literally spend 6 to 7 days a week running. Like I've literally run, I am at least a minimum of 13 miles on a Saturday or Sunday for my long run for over a year and a half. Like I haven't run a long run
Wow.
shorter than
Yeah.
that. I think I
Yeah.
missed one weekend for when I had to quarantine for COVID.
Wow.
And I didn't even have COVID when my coworkers tested positive and I started
Mm.
for
Yeah.
4 days. But that was like the only weekend I missed. Luckily, I did my run before I had to quarantine on one of the days because they couldn't contact me because I was out running. And I saw the phone when I got back and it was like really sad. But
Mm.
I was like, hey, at least I got my run in. But yeah, just because that was never me. Like
Mm.
in high school and like younger and even after, like I never saw myself as a person who'd want to be active multiple days a week or go to the gym or do any of that. But I think even like greater than that, I surprised myself as like how much I could accomplish if I actually really like applied myself and tried.
Yeah.
Because I feel like one of my hardest things growing up with like school and like weight loss is I never really pushed myself to do it. And I kind of just like, you know, at least school, I kind of just floated by and like didn't care. I
Yeah.
didn't have like some passion or drive to do anything, so I didn't care if I got bad grades because it's like, what does it matter?
Yeah. I totally understand that. All right. Um, let's see. Last question. If in 150 years science fails to save us all and all that is left is a book about your life, what would the title be and what would the blurb tell us about Mike?
Uh, all right, so I sat around for that one for, I had about an hour, and I really like that question, but I'm just like trying to think of things without sounding really goofy, but at the same time, like that's just kind of how I am. But I
I
was
mean,
just like the first,
the question is kind of designed to bring out a goofy answer too.
so like the first thing that came to mind to me was just like it's just so silly, but like the thing that came to mind was like title Michael Stern, the nurse practitioner, and the blurb. He pushed himself really hard and brute forced his way through everything in life except for saving us. Science did not prevail.
I, I like it. I like that you used part of the part of the question
Yeah.
in your blurb.
I sat through it and I was like, man, there's going to be way better things I'm going to think of like an hour from now and a week from now and like a month from now. And I'll be like, I'm going
Yeah.
to mention to Brett and he's going to be like, you're so dumb. Why did you not say that, Dad? And that's the
Awesome,
kind of
man.
stuff that makes me laugh, though, just because
Yeah. Hey,
I
I like
know
it.
it. Any
I like it.
question will be stuff like weeks from now. I'm like, man, that was a really witty response. I really wish I could have remembered it when it mattered. So
Well, hey, now this response will live forever. So you have that.
that's true.
All right. So wrapping up here real quick. If anyone would want to contact you on social media, Instagram, whatever, where could they find you?
Um, I think the best way, obviously, is Instagram and MySpace. Same name at seriously underscore Mike Stern. That's what I'm still using. I think I am. You'll probably
Yeah.
have it, but listed
Yeah.
on your
I have it in the show notes exactly where to find him on Instagram.
yeah.
And I'll link his MySpace as well. I'm sure it'll
I'm
be
very
super
curious if
easy.
it still exists, but it definitely had the same name, which is the worst part. uh,
Awesome.
Mostly just Instagram. Yeah, like I have Facebook. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really use it as much.
Yeah.
And like you have me on there, like, you don't see me post often. Like I take one picture
I
here or
I
there,
I don't.
and
Well,
you probably don't even use that much
I
either.
I I I mean, I post mostly like memes when I see good memes, mostly from the dad
Yeah,
page because going to be a dad. I am a dad now as of this recording, as of when it publishes. So I just love the memes on that, and that's mostly what I share, and then sometimes pictures, but that's about it. All right, so it's really good to have you on the show, Mike. I hope to have you back again. Until next time, just gonna say bye to everybody, and just remember to become more.